There's a moment, quiet, easy to miss, but if you pay attention, you'll feel it. It's the way his eyes linger on her, not in desire, but in realization. Something about her is different. And no, it's not her beauty, not her charm. It's something deeper, something he can't quite name. But in that moment, his respect for her begins. It doesn't come from how loud she speaks or how many people notice her. It comes from how she notices herself, how she holds her own space, calm, grounded, unbothered. She doesn't chase. She doesn't prove. She just is. And somehow that speaks louder than any words ever could. Most people think respect is something you earn by being perfect, pleasing, or putting others first. But here's the twist. It's often the smallest, most subtle behaviors that trigger a man's deepest respect. The way she says no, the way she walks away without drama, the way she doesn't try to be understood, because she already understands herself. And that's what this video is about. The silent traits, the hidden shifts, the psychological triggers that change how a man sees you, not just as someone he likes, but as someone he values, someone he listens to, someone he doesn't want to lose. If you've ever wondered why you're not taken seriously, or why the right ones never seem to stay, this could be what's been missing all along. And trust me, what we share at the end, that final trait, it's the one that makes him stop in his tracks and think, she's different. I can't replace that. Welcome to NeuroVista, where we unlock the hidden psychology of love, respect, and emotional power. Subscribe now, because once you understand this, you'll never be overlooked again. She doesn't say too much, not because she has something to hide, but because she values her own space. She doesn't feel the need to explain every thought or share every feeling, and that calm silence, it makes him curious. It makes him want to know more. There's something about the way she carries herself, quiet but confident, that makes him stop and pay attention. She doesn't chase compliments. She doesn't wait for someone to tell her she's enough. She already knows. And that quiet confidence creates respect. You see, when someone doesn't need approval from others, it shows they have strength inside. Psychology proves it. We tend to admire what we don't fully understand. When a woman doesn't reveal everything at once, it makes her more interesting, more valuable, more unforgettable. She's not trying to be mysterious. She's just comfortable being herself. She listens more than she talks. She's not looking for attention, but she gets it anyway. Because there's power in someone who is complete on their own. And when a man sees that, when he realizes she's not depending on him to feel whole, he starts to see her differently. Being self-contained doesn't mean being distant or cold. It means being calm, steady, and sure of who you are. It means knowing that your worth doesn't come from how much you share or how hard you try. It comes from within, and that kind of quiet strength, it speaks louder than anything else. It makes him look at her and feel like he's standing in front of something rare. It wasn't a big thing. Maybe he was late again. Maybe he made a comment that felt a little off. The kind of thing most people would brush aside, laugh off, or swallow down just to keep the peace. But she didn't do that. She looked him in the eye, calm, still, and she spoke. Not to attack, not to accuse. Just to be clear, her voice didn't rise, her words didn't shake. She didn't need to make a scene to make a point. She simply said what needed to be said. And in that moment, everything changed. Because that moment told him something. It told him she respected herself enough to speak up. It told him she wasn't afraid to lose him if keeping him meant losing herself. And that kind of energy? It's powerful. It makes a man pause. Most people think boundaries push people away, but relationship therapists say something different. Boundaries, they say, aren't walls. They're doors. They don't close you off. They show people how to step in the right way. And when a woman holds a boundary with grace, she's not saying, go away. She's saying, come closer, but only if you can come correct. He didn't expect it. He's used to apologies, to excuses, to people letting things slide. But she didn't shrink. She didn't over-explain. She just stood there, in her truth, and it made him see her in a new light. Because in that quiet, strong moment, she wasn't just asking for respect. She was showing him how to give it. And that sticks with him, more than he thought it would. She doesn't talk about how loyal she is. She doesn't list all the things she's done for others. She doesn't try to prove that she's different, because she knows real value doesn't have to be explained. It shows in how she walks into a room, in how she listens without needing the spotlight, in how she never begs to be chosen. When he asks about her past, she answers simply. She shares, but she doesn't overshare. She lets her presence speak before her words do. There's no need to defend, convince, or persuade. And that stillness, that quiet certainty, it makes him lean in, not because she's trying to impress him, but because she isn't. Studies in psychology say that over-explaining can actually make people trust you less. The more you try to prove your worth, the more it sounds like you're not sure of it yourself. But she doesn't fall into that trap. She understands something most people don't, that real confidence doesn't chase understanding. It invites it. He listens closely, not because she's louder than others, but because she's not trying as hard. There's a softness in her, but also strength, and it makes him wonder, how did she become like this? So sure of herself, without saying much at all? She doesn't flash her resume in love. She doesn't say, here's why I'm worthy. She simply is. And that energy? It's unforgettable. Because when a woman owns her worth without shouting it, the world listens in silence. And he does too. She sees when he texts first. She smiles when he makes time. She notices when he remembers the little things. And she truly appreciates it. But she doesn't cling to it. She doesn't build her day around it. She doesn't need it to feel okay. When he's distant, she doesn't chase. When he's late, she doesn't spiral. She carries on, not because she's pretending not to care, but because her peace doesn't depend on his presence. Her world stays full, with or without constant attention. This isn't coldness. It's emotional strength, a quiet kind of wholeness, one that doesn't rely on constant reassurance to feel secure. And that energy? It's rare, because most people are either too guarded or too dependent. But she lives in the space in between. Psychologists call this emotional self-sufficiency, and research shows it creates more respect and attraction than anything else. Because when someone feels like they're choosing you, not needing you, it creates space for real connection. He starts to sense it, that calm in her, that ability to receive love but not beg for it. It makes him step up, not because she demanded it, but because he wants to rise to her level. She notices the effort, but she doesn't need the performance, and somehow that makes every gesture from him feel more meaningful, because nothing is taken for granted, but nothing is clung to either. She's not waiting to be completed. She already is. There comes a moment, not loud, not dramatic, when she knows. Something inside her shifts, not because she stopped caring, not because she didn't try, but because she finally sees it clearly. This isn't aligned anymore. Maybe he still says the right things. Maybe the connection still lingers. But the feeling? It's off. And instead of holding on tighter, she loosens her grip. Slowly, gracefully. She chooses herself. And that's the moment everything changes. Because most people stay. They stay hoping, explaining, compromising a little more each day. But she doesn't. Not when her peace is on the line. Not when the love costs her clarity. He watches her walk away, not out of anger, not as a threat, but from a place of deep self-respect, a kind of knowing that says, I love you, but I love me too. And that decision, that quiet exit, hits him harder than any fight ever could. Psychologists say one of the strongest signs of self-worth is the ability to walk away from what no longer feels right, even when the heart is still involved. And when a man sees a woman do that, something locks in. He realizes she was never his to control. She was his to respect. Because the truth is, it's easy to stay when love is good, but the power is in leaving when it's not aligned. And when she does, that's the moment his respect becomes permanent. Respect isn't something you demand with loud words or desperate actions. It's something you inspire through how you show up, how you hold your space, and how you quietly choose yourself, even when it's hard. The way she doesn't chase, the way she speaks up without drama, the way she walks away when it's no longer aligned. These moments might seem small, but to him, they're unforgettable. Because once a man sees a woman who lives with that kind of self-respect, he can't unsee it. She becomes the standard, the one who didn't just ask for respect, she became it. If this spoke to you, Stick around. We've got more videos just like this, right here at NeuroVista, where psychology meets the heart. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and join a growing tribe of deep thinkers, feelers, and high-value souls. We're just getting started.